The email that destroyed my future accidentally exposed something my university never wanted anyone to see. Part 6. A university couldn't openly say, "We remove your funding because you asked questions." But they could make someone uncomfortable. They could delay. They could create obstacles. They could make someone feel like fighting wasn't worth it. And suddenly I understood something. The scholarship wasn't just about money. It was leverage. If they took away the thing I needed most, maybe I would stop asking questions. Maybe I would accept whatever explanation they gave me. Maybe I would disappear. Except I didn't. And now they had a bigger problem. Because the more they pushed back, the more attention they created. Rachel published the first article 3 days later. It wasn't a dramatic expose. It wasn't titled something like University Scandal. It was much more careful. The headline was, "Students Question Transparency After Scholarship Reductions." The article focused on documents. Not rumors. Not accusations. Students who lost scholarships. Public budget statements. Differences between reported numbers and internal records. Within hours, it spread across campus. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. People I barely knew were messaging me. Some were supportive. Some were angry. Some said I was damaging the university. That last one hurt, because I had spent years being proud of where I went. I had defended the university when people criticized it. Now some students were acting like I was attacking the place I attended. One message said, "If you hate the school so much, why don't you leave?" I stared at it for a long time. Because I wanted to reply. Because I'm trying to make it better. But I didn't. I knew arguing online wasn't going to fix anything. The university responded publicly. They released a statement saying, "The institution remains committed to financial integrity and student success." Recent claims contain misunderstandings regarding normal accounting procedures. Normal accounting procedures. That phrase became the center of everything. Because Rachel asked a simple question. If everything was normal, why wouldn't they release the audit? That was the question nobody could answer. The university's board announced they would conduct an internal review. At first, I thought that sounded like progress. Then Daniel called me. "Don't celebrate yet." "What?" "An internal review isn't the same as an independent investigation." "What's the difference?" "The people reviewing the issue still work for the same institution." That was when I realized how difficult this was. Even if something was wrong, proving it wasn't enough. You had to prove it to someone who had the power to act. A week later, something unexpected happened. I received another anonymous email. At this point, I almost didn't want to open it. But I did. It contained one sentence. "You need to find the donor agreements." That was it. No name. No explanation. I showed Maya. She immediately knew what it meant. Restricted funding. What? Remember what Daniel said? Some money had restrictions. So donor agreements would show exactly what the money was supposed to be used for. We started searching. This time, we knew what we were looking for. The university had dozens of donor-funded programs. Scholarships, research grants, student initiatives. Most agreements weren't public, but some were, especially large donations. After days of searching, Maya found one. A scholarship fund created 5 years earlier. The donor agreement clearly stated, "Funds shall be used exclusively for student financial assistance." I looked at the document. Okay, Maya pointed at the date. "Look at when the scholarship cut started." I did. The timeline matched. The university had reduced scholarships connected to the same funding category. But the money hadn't disappeared. It had been moved. The question was where. That's when Olivia, the graduate student we had spoken with earlier, found something. She had access to old departmental budget files because of her research assistant position. She found transfers between accounts. Not illegal-looking movie-style transfers. Normal-looking accounting entries. That was the problem. Someone unfamiliar with accounting would never notice. But when we compared them with the donor restrictions, something stood out. Funds meant for student support were being counted toward general university expenses. Not permanently, not obviously, but enough to make the financial situation appear different. Rachel reviewed everything with an accounting expert. The expert's response was what made us realize we might actually have something. He said, "If these documents are accurate, the concern is not simply how money was spent. The concern is whether financial reporting gave an incomplete picture." That was the turning point. Because until then, everyone could dismiss us as angry students. But inaccurate reporting, that was different. That was something regulators cared about. That was something auditors cared about. That was something donors cared about. Then came a part nobody expected. The university contacted me again. This time, it wasn't a meeting. It was an offer. They said they wanted to resolve the matter privately. The email was carefully written. Very professional. Very polite. They offered to review my scholarship situation again. They offered to assist with my continued enrollment. Basically, after weeks of saying the decision was final, suddenly they wanted to reconsider. I showed the email to Maya. She immediately said, "Do not respond yet." Why? Because this isn't about helping you. What is it about? She looked at me. They know the documents are real. That was the first time I understood the power shift. A month earlier, I was begging them to explain why I lost my scholarship. Now they were trying to stop me from asking questions. But there was still one thing bothering me. The scholarship. Even if the financial issues were real, why had they chosen me? Why not thousands of other students? Then Daniel called. He sounded different. Urgent. Did the university contact you? Yes. Don't agree to anything. I wasn't planning to. Good. Why? He was silent for a moment. Then he said, because I found the original scholarship review document. My heart started racing. The one before they changed it? Yes. And there's something you need to see. Part 7 is posted.